when you were an opposition member of the Malay Parliament in 1964, you passionately defended the idea of a free press, and you said, if your ideas and your views cannot stand the challenge of criticism, then they are too fragile and not sturdy enough to last. Why then, as the leader of Singapore, did you react to restrict the freedom of the press and of opponents within Parliament? And do you think this has stopped Singapore from becoming a first world civic society in the fullest sense of the meaning?
Circumstances change and create new situations, and the individual must react to it. Rhetoric is part of the business of leadership. It is. But even as I said it in Malaysia, I knew that certain things were out of bounds. In Singapore, when we had just separated and the Malays were unhappy and felt betrayed and abandoned, for issues of race, language, and religion to be raised in public would have been very dangerous. Therefore, I think there's something wrong with you. Remote control.
You got the mic? His mic is gone. Use mine.
It should be on? Okay, fine. I do not believe that we had suppressed or stifled the opposition. An open debate is necessary for any democracy, but there are certain areas which at various times in the people's history are too sensitive for open discussion. Let me explain. If in the 1960s I had raised the question of whether Chinese should or should not be the national language, I might have ended up in a riot. So I quietly called up the Chinese Chamber of Commerce and told them that if they wanted peace and quiet, they should not be pressing for Chinese as the national language, because that will immediately stir up such a hornet's nest, fear in the Malays and the Indians who wouldn't be able to master the language and would be at each other's throats. Now, in the more relaxed circumstances of the 1990s or the year 2000, anybody can say what they like about language because the issue is quite clear. Parents have decided that that is the way to the future. But even today, if you have a free-for-all for religion, we're going to end up in a real mess. I brought a case against the Far Eastern Economic Review in 1989, where they had accused me of attacking the Catholic Church, which was completely unfounded. So a very aggressive British QC gave me 2 days in the witness box to say, what's wrong? I said to him that he could defend Salman Rushdie's book in England, but that we had already decided to ban it before it became an issue. Was it wise? I think it was. What was the point of having this unnecessary rumpus? Freedom of intellectual discussion, when it was a matter that aroused enormous passion. The Muslims in Singapore were not interested in what was in Salman Rushdie's book. They were interested in the fatwa or the edict of the Iranian Ayatollah. and that anybody who killed Salman Rushdie would get a reward and go to heaven. So in that situation, you begin to argue. If you look at what's happening in the Middle East, I think much of the trouble really is that some things are not possible of civil discourse. It arouses too much passion and emotion. But as we become more affluent and comfortable and our Malays are more relaxed, perhaps we can do this. But then we have neighbors who are quite easily agitated by what we are saying in Singapore. So we have to be careful. We are not Britain with the French to worry about or the Germans. We have a different backdrop, and we have to have a keen sense of survival.